All right. So today we'll try to understand about browser context, and pages. And after that, we will see how we can handle multiple tabs or multiple browser windows. So very important. So listen carefully. So first of all, we need to understand what is browser context, and what is a page. And also we'll try to understand what is a pop-up. So let me give you some information about these three, and then we will proceed with the coding part. So normally when you run your automation test, right? So first of all, what it will do, it will launch our browser. So it will launch our browser. It can be Chromium or it can be WebKit. So basically these are the browser engines, right? So we have some browsers, let's say browser. So browser means it can be Chrome, right? So it can be Firefox or it can be WebKit. So these are all different browsers. So whenever you run your automation code, for the first task it will do is what? Launching the browser. So these are the different browsers which we have. So after that, every browser will maintain a context, which is called as a user context. So what is meant by user context? Let us say I have one browser. It can be any browser. So I have some browser like this, and this particular browser will have a one default user context. So what is this user context will do? This user context will save some information about the user. For example, in this browser, as a user, I logged in into the some browser. I'm added some add-ins or plugins or whatever you have in the browser. So that we can access only by this user. This user can access that information. Suppose I can create another user context. We can create n number of user context for single browser. So he is another user. He is another user. So multiple users can create multiple browser context for the specific browser. So what is the use of creating the user context? For example, let's say as a user, I log into my browser and I can access something, or I can access some plugins or anything. Right? Suppose another user using same browser but different context. So he cannot access the plugins or add-ins which are installed by the user one. So the basically user context will maintain the context of the browser. So for example, let's say when you open any browser, by default, you can see something here. So here I have installed some plugins here, right? So these plugins are installed by me. So here you can see this is my user context, default user context, right? You can create another context, which is also called as a user profile. In the browser terminology, we can call them as a user profile, a browser profile. So multiple users can create multiple browser profiles, like multiple browser contexts, so that they can access their own stuff from the browser. So it is a kind of a privacy kind of thing we can apply on the browser. So that is an advantage of using the context concept. So for one browser, we can create multiple context. So one browser, we can create multiple context. Let us say I have one browser, I can have multiple context. So I have multiple contexts. Suppose similarly, by taking any context, we can create multiple pages. So normally the browser contains the pages, right? One browser can have multiple pages, but in between these two, we can create a context. So what is the context means? The browser can have a context, and by using this context, we can create multiple pages, right? So what is an advantage of creating multiple pages? We can parallelly work on multiple applications on multiple tabs. Let's say I have opened one browser window. At a time, I can launch only one URL here. So this is particular page. So in this page, I can launch only one URL. I can work with only one application. But I want to parallelly launch another URL. Then I can launch another page like this for the same browser. I can create multiple pages like this. And here I can launch another URL, or another page. I can launch another URL. So this is one application. This is another application. This is another application. So we can work on multiple applications and multiple pages, which are again belongs to the same browser. It can be Chrome or it can be Firefox. It can be WebKit, anything. And again, first, before creating the pages, we need to also create a context. This is very important. So from the browser, we can create a context. By using context, we can create multiple pages. Okay, this is a simple understanding of browser, context, and multiple pages. So by default, when you're writing your automation script, we are using page directly. We are not creating the browser. We are not creating the context. Directly, we are creating the page. So let me explain this with some example. Go to the test and I'm creating a new file. So I'll name it as br context dot spec dot ts. I'm simply writing br context dot spec dot ts browser context spec dot ts. So simply I'm writing one simple test here. Just try to understand about the browser context and then we will see the example. So I'm importing test expert, and these are the two features basically we are importing from the Playwright so far, right? So writing one test here, and normally test contains two parameters. First parameter is uh, the title of the test. So here I'm writing something called browser context demo, and then arrow function, right? So in the arrow function, normally we will pass a page picture, right? And this is asynchronous function. This is asynchronous function. So this is a structure we normally creating when you're writing your automation test. And we are normally passing the page fixture here, right? So what does it mean? So far we are using this, but we don't know exactly what it is, right? So what is the page? Page is representing a page fixture. So as I said, three levels, right? First thing is what? A browser. First thing is what? Browser. So browser is having context. Browser is having context. So context is having a pages, multiple pages we can create. So browser can have a multiple context. Each context can have a multiple pages. So this is an order. So then what is a browser here? So browser can be either Chromium, Firefox or WebKit. As of now, the Playwright is supported different browsers. Chromium, which is actually Chrome and Edge. These two comes under Chromium. Firefox and WebKit comes under the Safari for Mac. So these are the three different browsers currently supported in Playwright: Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. Then what is a context? Context means we can create a user context for a particular browser. So we can create multiple user context for the particular browser. So what is a context means? We can create multiple context for multiple users or apps for the same browser. For the same browser. So provide a way to operate multiple or independent browser sessions. So if you launch your web browser once, we can create multiple pages. So in each and every page, we can work with the different applications or different apps, right? So to handle that, we need a context. So first we need to create a browser, and from the browser, we can create a context. And from the context, the next level comes under the pages. Pages. So what is page? The page can be either a tab, or it can be a window, or it can be pop-up. All three consider as a page. As per the Playwright, tab, window, pop-up, all these three comes under the pages. So for example, let me show you. So here, this is a normal page. I have launched Chrome browser and this is a normal page, right? So when you click on here, the new tab button, it is opening the new tab here. So this is one page and this is another page, and both are belongs to same context and both are belongs to same browser, right? So this is the tab window. Another one, for example, let's say this is a tab window. When I click on this one, pop-up windows, you can look at this. This is also one application. This is also one application. So these two also comes under the pages. Now, totally how many pages are there in my browser? The parent page. This is another one. This is another one. So totally three pages are there. So this is also called window, browser window or browser page. And in Playwright, tab or window or pop-up. All three comes under the pages. All three comes under the pages. Okay. So we'll see how we can handle. So pop-up in the sense, for example, let's say in the last class, we have discussed about dialogues, right? So dialogue is different and pop-up is different. So what is pop-up here? So let me show you something. Sometimes when you're working with application, immediately some pop-up will trigger, right? That is also considered as a page. Suppose I'm launching this URL. As soon as you launch the URL, you can see this is called pop-up. This is called pop-up. This is not alert window. This is called pop-up. And this is also considered as a page. This is also considered as a page. So basically in Playwright, tab, window, tab in the sense new tab, any new tab which we have opened, window or multiple windows or pop-ups. All three comes under the pages concept. We'll consider all of them under pages itself. Okay. So first we need to start with the browser, and browser contains a context. And by using the context, we can create multiple pages. This is a hierarchy. Okay. Now come to the test part. So far we are passing a page fixture here. That means what? We are ignoring, or we are directly jumping into the page. We are ignoring browser and we are ignoring context. We are not at all considering these two. We are directly jumping into the page, right? So that's the reason I put the page fixture. So here you can directly launch the page. You can say await page dot go to, and here you can pass the URL of the application, something like this. So this is how we are doing so far, because we are directly accessing the page fixture and we are directly using the page inside the test. We are not considering the browser or browser context so far. Okay. Suppose if you don't want to use this particular page, will it work? Can I use this page here? No, we cannot use, right? So here either we have to pass a browser, or we can pass a context, or we can pass a page. So one of them we should pass. Either we need to pass a browser fixture, or we need to pass a context, or we can pass a page. So if you're directly passing the page here, so then if you're directly passing the page here, so then we can use page inside the application. But in this case, which browser and which context it will be used? Because I'm directly saying page here, I'm using page. In this case, which browser, from which browser this page will be launched, and which context will be created. So that is taken by default. For example, in the playwright config.ts, whatever browser we configured here, by default, that browser will be taken, because we have not specified the browser anything anywhere in the script. So by default, if you're using page, right? So that page will be created from this particular browser, whichever we configured in the configuration file. That is the one thing. Then what about the context? So by default, whenever you have one page, by default, the page contains one context. So that is a default context. We can create multiple context, but this a default context will be created. That will be used. Okay, for example, I don't want to directly go to my page. I want to create my own browser. Then I want to create my own context. Then I want to create my own page without depending on the configuration file. Then what we need to do, instead of the page, then we will little bit go above. So page we can create based on the context. We can create page based on the context, right? So now what I will do is, instead of a page, I can pass context. So when you pass context here, we need to create a page now, because we are passing the context, but we don't create a page. So when you pass the context here, we need, by using this context, we need to create a page. So how to create a page from the context? Take this context dot, there is a method called context dot new page, context dot new page. So this will create a new page, and this particular method returns a new page. Basically, it will return the promise of the page. So that I can store in a page. So what is the type of this page is? This is page type. So I can put the type also page, and this will return the promise. We need to say await also. So this is giving an error. So we need to import the page also. Here we need to import the page like this. So now we can look at this. We are passing the context here. By using context, we can create a new page. So this new page is returning the promise of the page. It is not returning the page type actually. It is returning the promise of the page. So we cannot directly specify the page here. It is returning basically a page. So I can create a const variable or let variable, whatever. So if I pass context, we have to create a page and then we can launch the page. Again, which browser it will take by default? Chromium will take because we are not specified the browser from the config.property file. So from the config.ts file, by default, it will take the Chromium browser, and from that it will create a context. And then from the context, we are creating the new page. And by using this page, we can launch the URL. Suppose here I will pass browser directly. So browser. So when I pass browser, then we need to create a context. From the context, we will create a page. Suppose I'm passing the browser picture. So then how to create a context from the browser? So here we created the page, but from where the context come from? From the browser. So we need to create a context for the browser. So by taking help of this browser dot, there is a method called browser dot new context. New context. So this will create a context for that particular browser, and this will basically return, the context will return. The context is not returning anything. It is basically, yeah, browser context will be returned. So I can create one variable like context equal to and create const like this. So now we pass browser picture. From the browser, we created a new context. From this context, we can create a new page. But again, this will throw some await. So here, use await. Okay. So now what we have done, we pass browser. From the browser, we created the context. From the context, we created a new page. From the page, we are launching the browser. So this is the actual procedure. So now in this case, which browser it will consider here? So whatever browser we passed, so it is creating the new context and the new page. But which browser it will take? Again, default browser, which is configured in the config.ts file, right? But instead of using config.ts file, this browser, I want to have my own browser type. Then what you can do, before using this browser context, new context, you need to create your own browser. So we have some feature called Chromium dot launch. But we need to import that package also. Here, I need to import Chromium, and that you can use it here. I can say Chromium dot launch. So this particular command, Chromium dot launch, which will create actually the browser. Browser will be created, and this is also, I can make it as a const variable. So, and this launch method again will return the promise. I will say wait. Now just observe carefully. We are creating the browser. From that, we are creating the context. From the context, we are creating the page. All three we are creating within that script itself. In that case, do we need to pass this browser as a parameter here? No need. We can simply remove that. Okay. So if you do not pass any params to this asynchronous function, we need to create our own browser. We can create our own context. We can create our own page, and then we can use that page. This is the procedure. Suppose if you are passing browser here directly, browser picture, so then you can remove this statement. This is not needed. So directly from the browser, we can create a context. Suppose if you are passing the context directly, in that case, you don't need to create a new context. Why? Because we are already getting the context. So if you are not passing the context, instead of context, if you are passing the page directly, then we don't need this context also. We don't need this page also. We can directly use this page for our automation. So now you understand the hierarchy. This is very, very important step. So if you want to create your own browser, your own context or your own page, then you can create like this. So first await chromium.launch in whichever browser you want, you can. Suppose if you want to create firefox.launch, then you can add that package here, Firefox. And here instead of Chromium, you can say Firefox like that. So this will create their own browser. Okay. So let me make it as a Chromium. So if you don't pass anything in the asynchronous function, then you need to create your own browser, your own context, your own page. And if you're passing browser context, only browser, then you can avoid this statement. And if you're passing context here, then you can avoid these two statements. If you're passing page, then you can avoid all three statements because we are directly getting the page from the particular context and browser. So you can use the page. Okay, this is the concept of browser, context, and a page. So if you don't pass any parameter in the asynchronous function, still it will work. Why? Because we are creating our own browser, we are creating our own context, we are creating our own page, and we are launching the page, right? So let me execute this. Let me try to run this. And I'm not passing anything in the asynchronous function. So now we can just look at this. Br context dot spec dot ts. You can see it is launching my page. And once it is launched, it is get closed, right? So see here, I'm not passing any parameter to this asynchronous function. Internally, I'm creating my own browser, my own context and everything. Suppose instead of Chromium, I'll say Firefox. Now again, run it one more time. You can see this time it is launched my Firefox browser. This is my Firefox browser. And similarly, you can also launch WebKit. I say WebKit. WebKit.launch. So WebKit is especially for Mac browsers, which is representing Safari browser, but still we can run it in our Windows machine. Right. So now you can see this. This is actually Mac browser. It is running on local. Yeah. So this is how we can create our own browser context, and then we can create our own page. So what is an advantage of creating the context? So we can work with multiple applications and multiple tabs or multiple pages. That is a major advantage of creating the browser context. Okay. So let me show you something here. So we created the browser context and page. I just launched a page. Okay. Now, can I create multiple pages for the same context? Yes, we can create multiple pages. So for example, let's say I already have a browser and context I have created. So by using context, when I say new page, it is creating one page. So let us call it as a page one. Page one is got created. Now I want to create another page. Let's say page two equal to await context dot again new page. So this will create another page. So totally two pages I have created as a const page one, context dot new page, and const page two, context dot new page. So two pages I have created. So first page and second page. Now by using first page, page one, I will try to launch one application. See this. So here, this statement will create browser. So I'm writing comment so that you can understand later by reading the code. So this will create context. Now here, create first page. So I'm writing here, creating two pages. So page one and page two by using the same context. Now by using page one, suppose if you want to find how many pages are created with the same context, so we can find out. So for example, how many pages we created with this context? 2 pages we created. So if you want to count how many pages are created, we have a method here. So number of pages created. So we can take this context dot context dot pages, right? Pages. So this is basically returns all pages which are created inside the context. And if I look at this pages method will return array of the pages. So in array, every page will be loaded. So how we can count dot length followed by length. Okay, so this is how we can simply count number of pages created inside the one context. So I'm not launching any page here. I'm just created browser context. And by using the context, I have created 2 pages. And now I'm finding out how many pages I have created under the same context. So if you run this code again, this will print how many pages I've created under the same context. Now we can see number of pages are created 2. So this is exactly returns 2. Okay. Now, so let us work on with this page. Suppose what is an advantage of creating multiple pages? So we can work with multiple applications parallelly. So for example, let's say in the page 1, I'm launching one URL. So page 1.go to. So let's say one URL, I'm specified this. This is the URL. Suppose I want to launch another URL. If I use same page 1.go to, and I'm trying to use some another URL. Okay. So normally what will happen like this? If I do like this, so I'm launching the URL by using same page number, right? So both the URLs I'm launching by using same page. So how it will run now? First, it will launch the first URL on the same page. Again, on the same page, it will open another URL. But at a time, we cannot open 2 URLs. We cannot see both the URLs at a time, right? So if I just run this, so at a time, we can see only one application on one browser. Say this. Page 1, page 2. So let me run once again. Page 2 we created, but we have not used. So it is went very faster. So it is executed, but only on page 1 itself, both the URLs are working. But my requirement is on the page 1, I will launch one URL, and page 2, I will launch another URL, and I can work with this page 1 and page 2. Whenever you need, you can shift it. So in the page 1, I will launch this. In the page 2, I will launch another URL. So you can do a validation. Suppose I'm launching this page on the page 1. So here my title should be await, expect, right? Page 1, I'm passing page 1 and the title to have title. So let me find the title of this page. Open this browser. So where we can find the title, just inspect the page. You can find the title on the header tag somewhere. Just scroll down. Here you can see this is the title. So just specify the title here, right? So now on the page 1, I launch this Playwright URL and verifying the title. Similarly, page 2, I launch another URL and then verify the title. Just go back and find it. So the title is present inside the body header tag. So the title is just a Selenium. Now I will try to change it. So I can say await, expect, page 2 dot to have title. That's it. Okay. So if I look at this example, so I have created 2 pages. And first page, I launch one URL. Second page, I launch another URL. I'm just finding the titles. So can we achieve this with the single browser? No, at a time we cannot achieve. So if I use same browser, what will happen? Suppose if I use page 1 itself, then what will happen is first it will launch the URL and find the title. On the same page it will launch another URL. So old URL will be replaced with the new one, and then finding out the title. Single page, everything will be executed, but I want to run them in two different pages. So that's the reason we created two different pages, and then I will launch them in two different pages. Okay, now just I will put some time here to see both the pages parallelly. Await page dot. Okay, can we use page here? Page dot, because we're not passing the page here, we created our own two pages. So we can put wait for both the pages. So page one dot wait for timeout. So two pages we need to put timeout differently. So 5000, and same thing we can apply for page two also, because both the pages will run independently. So page two would also wait time. Now just observe that. So we created one browser, our own browser. Then we created our own context. Now we can see two tabs are open. This is the one tab and the second page. This is the first page and second page. So after 5 seconds, it will be exited and passed, right? So at a time, we can see both the URLs in two different pages. So this is an advantage of creating our own page. So if you have a context, from the context, we can create multiple pages. Not only this, there are many advantages of creating the context. In the upcoming sessions, I will discuss more about this context. We can configure the cookies, and we can disable or enable the extensions of the browser. And there are a lot more things we can do with this browser context. We can browser related configurations we can do by using this browser context. Okay. So this is a main advantage of using the browser context. So instead of directly using browser context page, we can create our own browser. We can create our own context. We can create our own pages. Then we can work on those pages parallelly. So why do we need this concept? We can work on multiple applications or and parallelly. So this concept will be used to handle new tabs, new windows, and also pop-ups. To handle all these things, we need this kind of concept, browser context concept we required. Okay. Now, by using this concept, we will try to understand how we can handle tabs, windows, and pop-ups. Let me go to another example. Working with the tabs. Now, creating a new file, tabs.spec.ts. I'm simply giving tabs.spec.ts. Right. So in this, I'm going to import a package. Guys, can you hear me? Okay. All right. So let me import this. Test expect Chromium. So I'm also creating my own browser. So I'm just importing this Chromium also. Now create a test. Okay. So handle tabs. Very important. Listen carefully. So handle. I'm not passing any parameter into this, because I will create my own browser, own context, and own pages. Everything I will create my own. So I'm not passing any fixtures inside the synchronous function. Right. So as a first step, we need to create our own browser. We can create our own context. We can create a multiple pages. Right. So let's do that. First, I will create my own browser. So how to create? We'll try to copy the steps from the previous one. So these are the browser, context, and pages. Let's copy this piece of code. All right. So here we create our own Chromium, and this is a synchronous function. So we created our own browser, we created our own context, and we created two different pages. Two different pages. So what I'll do is I will create one page first. From that page, I will launch another page. Okay, for example, let's say I have something here. To find that application. Just okay. So let's go to this application, testautomationpractice.com. So here I launch this URL on the particular page. Okay, this is the, let us say this is my parent page. Okay, so when you click on this new tab, then what will happen? It is opening another page actually. So this is one page, this is another page. So two pages are opening, but still it is using same browser context. But how many pages are there? Two pages are there. So how you will get the second page? As soon as you click on this new tab, then you will get the another page, right? So let us try to handle this. So I will create one page for now. I will create only one page. Let's call it as a page. So or else you can call it as a parent page. So default page. New page is a default page. So by using this parent page, I will launch the URL. So parent page dot go to, and I will pass this URL, copy this URL and then pass it here. So I just created only one page, which is a parent page. One page I created. By using the page, I have launched this URL. So currently our page is this one, right? So now I'm going to click on this new tab. So inspect this element, and there is a button on click. Let us see the CSS for this. Okay, now it is giving some relative CSS, and I can create my own CSS. I can say button is tag, and the button is having some text, right? New tab. So we can use one function, CSS function here instead of writing this. You can also use this, nothing wrong. So I can say button colon, we have a method called CSS method has text of, you can pass the text. What is that? New tab. I can say new tab. Now one element is matching. So let us use the CSS selector to locate this new tab element. Okay, so how we can locate that element? This is a CSS. Used same page. New page dot locator, and then pass this locator whatever we captured. Right? And dot, we need to perform the click action on this. So we have done this. We launch the URL using the page, whatever page we created here. By using that page, we launch the URL and we find out the locator on the same page and we click on this. So once you click on this, this will actually opens new tab. This is very, very crucial step. So it opens the new tab. Now just observe. So once it is open the new tab, how many pages are there in the page? Once you click on this, two pages are available. So two pages are available, right? Now to work with these two pages, now I want to capture the title of this page, then title of the second page. Now I want to capture both the pages. These two pages are belongs to same browser context, but there are two pages are there. Now I want to capture these two pages. Okay, I want to first capture the two pages and then I want to find out how many pages are there. Then I will do whatever action I want on the particular web page. So here the thing is, whenever you click on this, suppose if you're launching this URL by using another page, there is no problem. So page one, page two, you can maintain two different pages. But actually this page is launched through this tab, through this button. When you click on the new tab, it is open the new tab, right? Now these are the two pages, but currently we have only one page, which is parent page. We do not have a second page, but I want to capture the second page also, which is dynamically opens through this button. So how we can capture this? So to capture this, we need to trigger an event. Okay, we need to trigger event. What is that event? So whenever you click on this button, what is happening actually here? It is opening the new tab, right? This tab we need to capture. This is also page. We need to capture this. So before capturing this, this is an event actually. So we need to specify that event. So what is that event? I can wait for this page is triggered. So when I click on this, the page will open. So before that, I need to wait for that event. So we have a context we created, right? By using this context, because all the pages are created by using same context. So context dot, there is a method called wait for event. So which event we need to wait for? What event we need to wait? Page. This is an event. Okay, so this is the additional step which we need to add before opening the new page. So actually this opens a new tab. Tab in the sense, again, it is a new page. Tab or new page, right? So to capture this new page, we cannot directly capture it. So whenever you click on this button, this will trigger some event. This will trigger some event. And to catch that event, we need to specify this context dot wait for event. So whenever this is triggered a page event, this will capture event. So why we need to put before the action? Same in the yesterday class also I've told you this. Because if you put the statement out after the statement, by the time we click on this, that event is already triggered. It is done, completed the trigger, right? So this click method is also written a promise. Promise means it can be pending or fulfilled or rejected. So by the time this event triggered, this action is already completed. So we need to wait for the event at the time of triggering the event. That means what? If we put after the statement, by the time this action is already done, so we cannot capture the event. Suppose if you put this statement before the statement, then what will happen? So this wait for event is basically returning a promise of the page. Means what? It can return a promise. A promise can be a pending, promise can be fulfilled, or promise can be rejected. Three states are there. Means what? This statement will execute backend. This is also execute backend parallelly, right? Because I have not specified any asynchronous keyword or synchronous keyword. So by default, this statement will go synchronously, right? This will go and execute, this will go execute. So if you put the statement after this statement, after completion of event, it cannot capture that event. Suppose if you put the statement before this statement, then another problem is there. So what is the problem? This event is waiting for the page. Until the page is displayed, this event cannot be fulfilled. Until this is completed, this cannot be fulfilled. So still it will be pending stage. So that is a problem. So when you put this statement after this trigger, after this action, there is a problem. Again, if you put this statement before this statement, before the action, in that case also it is a problem. Both the cases it is a problem. So now what we need to do? We need to execute these two parallelly. Parallelly we need to execute. At the same time, we need to execute both the time, both the statements. So that event should be triggered exactly at the time of clicking on this button. Same time exactly we need to click. And this wait for event return the promise. Even this click also return the promise, right? So both will return the promise. Both the statements will return the promise, and both the statements I want to execute at the same time. Not synchronously, not asynchronously. Synchronous means what? Once it will execute this one and then it will execute. Asynchronous is nothing but what? It will go and execute its own way and this will go and execute its own way. But again, there will not be sync between these two. So I want to trigger this whenever you perform this action. Immediately I want to perform. So we need to run these two statements parallelly. And both are returning promise. So for that, what we need to do is these two we have to run parallelly by using a method called promise.all. Remember this. We have a special class called promise and all. So what this method will do, this will basically takes array of actions or array of the promises, an array of the promises. So this particular method will take a different promises, array of the promise. For example, This statement will return a promise. This statement will return another promise. So we can put those two promises inside the promise.all. And not only that, this will execute these two promises, these two statements at the same time. And now we need to pass these two in the form of an array. How we can pass in the form of array? For example, I'm taking this statement. Here, I can put one bracket and just pass it. Remove the semicolon. So now this will return the promise, and now this array contains one promise. And this also I need to pass as an array. So this is the one thing, and comma, pass this. So just observe carefully what will happen with this statement. Click. So this is one single statement. We'll throw the promise, waiting for the event. And this is another statement which will perform the action. It will also return the promise. Now this is written one promise. This is also written the one promise. And we put both in one single method. And we pass them as a part of an array. So what is an outcome of this particular statement, single statement? So this promise.all method will wait till both the statements are successfully completed. Till both the statements are successfully completed. So that is an advantage of this. So we should not put click like this. Click method and close the bracket, and one more bracket is missing here. Okay. So this is one element in the array. This is another element in the array. Just a moment. There is some syntax error. New tab and closed one bracket, and then after that we need to perform the click action. Okay. So this is how we need to specify. So what did it exactly return? So this is one promise will return. Second statement will return another promise. So once both the promises are completed, then this all method will return the another promise. All method will return another promise. Okay. So now we need to put await statement in front of this promise. So now we can avoid these two statements. So these two statements actually we have to run parallelly. So if I put these statements one after another, it is not possible. Even if you put this statement after this action, it won't work. Similarly, if you put this statement before the action also, it won't work. We need to combine these two actions and return the promises. And now this all method return the single promise once both promises are fulfilled. Both promises are fulfilled. Okay. So then what is the return type of this? This is basically return a promise of the page. Promise of the page. Okay, so we have opened the new page, right? As soon as you click on this, it is open the new tab like this. So this new tab, whatever is open, that will be captured. So this, after completion of these two, we will get another new page. So that new page written by this. So if I look at this context.wait event, put the cursor here. So it is basically returning what? Promise of page. So basically it is written the page actually. So which page it will return? The new page. Whatever the new page we opened with this action, this event is waiting for the page. Once the page is available, this will return the web page. So wait for event method will return the page. So we put both actions in single page. So single method, which is promise.all. So this will also return the page. So I will create a new page. So we already created one parent page, right? So we call it as a child page, for example, parent page, and it is a child page like this. Okay. So now we have a parent page. We also have a child page. So child page, basically we need to define type this. Sometimes if the page is not available, so this may also return void. Okay, this page is not available. Suppose if the any promise is not fulfilled, then it may return void also. So that's the reason it's a array of page and void. So if you just want to ignore this void, you can put this in the bracket like this. So now the child page, whatever we created, this is acting as a child page. Now we have a parent page, we have a child page. How to capture the child page? By executing these two statements within the promise.all method. So why we need to execute these two statements at a time? Because we need to send them parallelly. whenever this action is performed, immediately this event should capture the page, right? That's the reason we put them in the promise.all. So whenever you are handling with tabs or pop-ups or multiple windows, this is very, very important step. Same thing will continue, right? Now we got the child page. Now we have a parent page, also have a child page. So now we can work with these two pages independently, right? So I just comment this. So these two statements should go parallelly. So we need to put this promise.await. So this is a one statement, comma, this is my second statement. After that, perform the click action. This is one single, another statement till here. Right. So now let us see how we can switch between the tabs and pages. So there are two pages are open now. So two tabs are open. This is my first tab and second tab. So how we can work with them parallelly. So approach one. There are two different approaches. Switch between pages. Two pages are there and get the titles of those pages. For example, let's say this is a parent page and this is my child page. Two pages are already there, but I don't want to use pages. Instead of, I'll directly use context. Can we get how many pages are created using context? Can we get that value? Yes. So to get that information, what I can do, take the context dot pages. So this particular method will find out how many pages are created in the context. So one page we created our own, but another page is got created whenever you are clicking on the button. So two pages as of now it is created. So this will return the number of pages created, right? That information I'm storing in a variable pages and make it as a const variable. So let us try to print and see how many pages are got created. So number of pages created and just say pages. This is basically an array pages dot length. Pages dot length. Right. So without depending on this. So one page we created our own, but another page is got created when you click on the button. So as of now, two pages are there. So how we will find out context.pages? This will return the number of pages and we are able to print here, right? So try to execute and see. Sorry, not this one. Tabs.spec.ts. Tabs.spec.ts. Just look at this. Two pages are open. Right. So now you can just look at the error. One error was a part of any test. See the above details. Okay. So parent page dot go to. We missed await statement here actually. Await. Clear. Look at this now. One page, second page. Two pages are open. Now we can see number of pages are created. Two pages are created. So one page we created our own page. Another page is created by the statement. Once you click on this button, it is created another page and that we captured in the child page, right? So approach one is we capture all the pages, find out the length. Now can we find the titles of those pages one by one? So page is what basically pages is an array. Page is an array. It is an array. Returns an array. Can we access the first page from this array? How to access the first page from an array? By using index, right? So what I will do is pages of 0. This is actually written the first page. This is actually returns the first page. And now I want to capture the title of the first page. Say dot title. So this will return the title of the first page. So I say console.log. Can say title of the parent page. Title of the parent page. So like this we can work on it. So if you want to work with the parent page, you can always refer the parent page using pages of 0. Similarly, if you want to get the title of the child page or tab page, then pages of 1. So this will return the title. Similarly, if you want to perform any action on the parent page, you can use pages of 0. Or if you want to do any action on the second page, then you can use pages of 0. So this is one approach. So we can get the pages and we can perform some actions on the pages by accessing specific page from the context. And again, await is required here. The title is returning the promise here and also here. Okay. Now this is my parent page, child page. And now we can see this is the title of the parent page. This is the title of the child page. So this is one approach. By directly using context, we can get number of pages, and that is basically an array, returns an array. From that array, we can access the 0 element and first element. These are basically 2 pages. Instead of using this, instead of using context, we can directly use this. So we have already created the parent page, and this is returning the child page. So by using this parent page and child page also, we can get the title. So direct approach. Second thing, approach 2. This is alternate. So in this, we can directly get like this. Suppose I say same statements, title of the parent page. Instead of accessing the page from the array, we can directly get the page, parent page. We created that page and get the child page. And that is automatically generated by this statement, child page data. So these are the two things. Either we go with the based on the context, using context. So using context, or you can directly go with this approach. Let me run this. You can look at this. So first page, second page, 2 tabs. Now we can see you got the same title. So these are the 2 titles we got before, and after that also we got the same titles. Right. But when to go for first approach, when to go for second approach. So if you have only 2 tabs, right? Only 2 tabs or 2 pages. So then go with the second approach, because it is very easy to remember. Parent page and one is child page. One is parent, one is child. Simple. But if you have a multiple pages or multiple tabs, then you cannot say which one is parent, which one is child. So in that case, capture all the pages in the pages by using context and access those pages by using index, like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. So if you have a multiple pages, more than 2 pages, then go with the first approach using context. And if you have it just 2 pages, then go with the second approach, which is an alternative. Okay. So this is how we can work with the tabs. Even tab is also considered as a page. Tabs, pop-ups, windows, everything is considered as a page. So by using browser context, we can capture them, or by directly using page, we can capture them. So is this clear, everyone? Please confirm in the chat box. Then I will show you another example. So throughout this is a crucial step, okay? Because we need to capture that event properly before performing the action. So should be the page always created in the same order? Yes. So because the parent page we created. So after that, whatever pages are open, all of them comes under the child pages. And again, all pages are belongs to the same context. So that's the reason we capture all the pages from the same context, and we are trying to retrieve the pages, and we are able to capture them. So this is how we can handle the pages or tabs. Now, let us see how we can handle the pop-ups. Pop-ups also exactly same as the pages. So go back to the page again. So when you click on this pop-up windows, now you can see there are 2 windows are open. So this is a 1 page and this is 1 page and the parent page. Totally how many pages are there? 3 pages are there. But what is the difference between previous one and this one? When I click on this tab, it is opening the page in the next tab actually. Next tab. If you just separate this, now these are the two pages in two different tabs, but both are belongs to same context. Both are belongs to same browser, same context. So previously it is open in the new tab, but now it is open to different boxes or two different windows. But again, these two are also pages, but we consider them as a pop-up. So previously, what type of event we triggered when I click on this new tab? Page event we triggered. If I go back and see the code, we have sent the page event. You can see that page event we triggered because it's a new tab. But now if I open this, opens the two pop-ups. These are called pop-up windows. So this time we have to trigger pop-up event, not the page event. We have to trigger pop-up event. Okay, that's the only difference. Now, other than this, everything is same. These two also consider as a pages. This is one page and this is the another page and this is a parent page. But instead of triggering the page event, we have to trigger pop-up event. That's the only difference, right? So now let us see how we can handle pop-ups. Close this, create another file, popups.spec.ts. I'll just copy the same code. Okay, so let me remove all these things. All right. So handle pop-ups. So now this time I will try to change. So I will, instead of creating browser, page, context, context, everything, I just pass browser instance here. Browser I will pass. So when you pass browser, what are all things we can create inside this? Do we need to create a context? Do we need to create a browser? First of all, no, because we are already passing the browser here. So do we need to create a context? Yes. Page, yes. So only context and page which we need to create because we are already passing the browser. So you need to remember this. Even if you don't pass the browser, then we need to create a browser, context and page. All three we have to create. But if we pass browser, just we need to create only context and page. Suppose if we pass only context, then we need to create only page. Even if you pass the page, that page is also no need to create. Okay, this is the remember point, important point. Now, I'm trying to pass a browser, which is by default Chromium. Now, from this browser, so if you pass the browser, Chromium is not needed here. So when I pass the browser, based on that, I can create a context. How to create a context? Await browser dot new context. So this will create a new context and I will store a variable. I say context equal to, this is a const variable. Now we created one new context. And by using the context, we will create a new page. Context dot new page. This will create a new page. I'll call it as a page. And this is a const. Now let us launch the page. Await page dot go to and launch this page. Await page dot go to, launch the page. Okay. So what is the problem in this? So we created our new page. Go to method won't return anything, I guess. No. So new context, new page which we created. So now we need to launch page dot go to. So have you missed anything here? Yeah. So this new page actually returns a page. So we need to put that also. Okay. Yeah. So new page returning the promise. Yes. So here we need to put await. See, await is important, guys. Sometimes I forgot to put await. So that is running into issues. Need to carefully use await. So if you are not clear about where we need to put await and all, so you can just look at the method. So place the cursor on the method. That will show you. So if that is returning the promise or not. If it is returning promise, you can put await. If it is not returning the promise, then await is not needed. Okay. Right. So I just created the new context, new page, and then I go to this page. Right. So how to handle multiple pop-ups? Multiple pop-ups. Right. So if you want to get those pop-ups, this is the button I want to click. Pop-up windows. So what I'll do, I'll inspect this element and there is an ID available. So I can directly write CSS using ID, hash ID. So one element is matching. So get that element, await page dot locator, pass this locator a dot click. Right. So when I click on this button, this is actually opens the two browser windows or two tabs or two pages. Now we need to capture them. So to capture these two, we need to trigger an event. So where we need to trigger that event? So before the statement, we need to trigger event. So what type of event we have to trigger? Page dot wait for event. The event name is pop-up. This is the event. Previously, we have triggered page event. So this time we have to trigger pop-up event. Again, the same problem. So these two go parallelly. So whenever you action is performed, immediately this event should be triggered. So we need to run these two parallelly in single step. Both are returning promise, right? And moreover, this wait event method will return all the pop-ups. So we need to combine and run. So how we can combine and run? Using promise dot all. And this will take an array. This will take an array. So how we can specify them inside an array? First, to specify this an array. The first argument should be this one, comma. The second argument should be this one. That's it. So this will actually returns all the pop-up. It will wait for the pop-ups which open and return all the promises. So we no need to keep this. Instead of writing these two steps, we need to write one step. So if you write two steps independently, it won't work. So combined step. So this will actually return all the pop-up along with the promises. So let us put await also before that. But I'm not storing them anywhere. I'm just opening the pop-ups. Okay. So once it is done, the next thing is what? We can directly get the context because all of them, all the pages are created using the same context. Can we get all the pages using context? Yes. So get the context dot pages. Now let us see how many pages have been created. So I will store all the pages in a variable, all pop-up windows, and make it as a const variable. Can we find how many are there? So how many are you are expecting? Console dot log of number of pages or windows. Even the main page is also considered as a window. And all pages dot length because that is an array. So the pages method will return an array. So this will returns array of pages. Now we find out the number of. So how many we are expecting here is totally 3 pages we are expecting along with the main page. So now execute. This is popups dot spec dot ts. See this? Open the main page. So after clicking on this, there are 2 pages are open and already closed. So number of pages or windows exactly 3 are given. So can we access individual pages by using index? Because this is an array, by using index, we can access individual pages. So now if you want to access the first browser window, so in the 2 pop-ups are open. The first one is a parent. Rest of the two. So let me just print it first of all. Console.log of all pop-up windows. All pop-up windows is basically what is pages of an array. Each page will be stored in this pop-up window. So now I want to capture the first one. So 0 is a parent page. 0 is the first page which we have launched here. And 1, 2 are the actual pop-ups which are launched by the button. So all pop-up windows are 1. And now I want to capture either title or the URL, whatever. So I'm trying to capture the URL, for example. So let's say URL. So this will return the URL of the first pop-up window. And similarly, this will return the URL of the second pop-up window, right? So let us see. And again, I say page dot. Okay, let me run this. So currently there are 3 pages which we have in our application. So 2 pages are already launched. So now we can look at this. So this is the URL of the one pop-up window. This is the URL of another pop-up window. So 0 is also present. That is a parent page. That's the reason I have not printed here. So if you want to print a parent, you can make it as a 0. So this will actually returns the URL of main page, or we can say parent page. So first, whichever page we launched here, the same URL will be returned. So this is the main page and another 2 pages have been returned. So now we can look at this. So this is the first page which we have launched, and these are the 2 pages launched through popups. Okay. So this is how. So by using context, first we need to capture the context of the pages. It will return all the pages. Then by using index, we can access each and every pop-up. Okay. So now I want to do some further operations here. I want to close a specific pop-up, or I want to close all the pop-ups. So then how we can do that? So we can use something called a looping statement. So for example, I'm writing for loop. Because it is an array, can we use for of loop? Yes. All pop-up windows an array. So from this array, I am getting each and every page. Let's call it as a const p or pg. So from all pop-up windows means all pages only. So for all pop-up windows, I'm getting each and every pop-up window, or I can say pw, pop-up window. So from all pop-up windows, I'm getting each and every pop-up window one by one. And what I will do this pop-up window, I can do whatever you want. Suppose from the pop-up window, this pop-up window pw, I want to capture the title. For example, it's a title. I got the title and I'll store the title in a variable const title of the particular page. Okay. Now by using this title, I can do whichever action you want on whichever pop-up you want. So for example, let's say I have 2 URLs, right? So this is written by this Selenium and another URL is this one. So 3 URLs are written. So now what I want to do is title. For example, if the title is a playwright, so then I will perform some action on the playwright window. And if the title is, for example, Selenium, so then I will perform some action on the Selenium box or Selenium pop-up window. So I will put one if condition. If title dot includes, if title dot includes, there is a method called includes, string method. Title is a string. So title dot includes, let us say playwright. Okay, and then I will perform certain action here. If the title dot includes playwright, then I will perform certain action. So again, this title is returns the promise. You need to put await here, right? If the title dot includes playwright, so then what I should do is I should click on something. For example, let's say close this. And I'm closing this. And now let us click on this pop-up windows. Now 2 windows are opened. Now what I want to do is, if the title is playwright, that means it is pointing to the playwright window. Then I want to click something here. Let's say there is a button in this, right? I want to click on this. So inspect this element. It opens a new tab and you can see there is a class attribute is available. So I'm trying to use it here. Go to selector hub. Yeah, one element is matching. So if the title is the Playwright, then I want to click on that button on the title box. So here, if the includes Playwright, title includes Playwright means which box we are pointing, which page? Playwright page. This is the page, second one. So on that page, I want to perform some action. I write PW means pop-up window dot locator of pass this locator. So whatever action you want to do on this particular page, you can do that. Dot click like this. Okay, so after clicking on the button, then I want to close it. So how to close that particular browser window? Await pw dot close. Close. This is the command. So this will close Playwright pop-up window. But still other window is opened. See, here we are working with only one window. If condition is matches with the Playwright, then go and click on the button on the Playwright window and then close it. But what about the rest of the windows? They're still present. Right. Suppose if you want to working with the Selenium window, so then you can change the title, includes the Selenium, then perform actions on the particular Selenium window and then close it. All right. So now after completion of this, I will just wait for some time to see the action. Await page dot wait for event. Wait for timeout. So wait for timeout. Here I can say 5000 seconds. Okay. This is how we can handle. So what we have done here is we just click on the button. It opens multiple pop-ups. So we capture the URLs of the pop-ups through array. And also we have written one for loop. So if you want to work with specific pop-up, I want to perform action on the specific pop-up, then capture the title of that particular pop-up. And if the title matches, then perform the action. So not only these two, before closing, you can perform any action. You can perform any other actions on the particular pop-up. So perform any other actions. And after completion of all the actions in this particular window, then close this window. So I have not closed other window. I have just closed only Playwright window, right? So just other windows automatically closed after this timeout is exited. So even you no need to close intentionally, it will automatically close. Now. So now the page is got launched. See now the Playwright window is already closed. So this window is still alive. After some time that will also will be closed. Okay, so this is how it will work. Suppose if you want to see whether it is performed this action or not, I will put some wait time here so that we can see whether it's performed this action in that particular Playwright window or not. Okay, just observe. So this is, yeah, now we can see it went to installation page. As soon as you click on the get started, it went to installation page. And then finally the page is got closed and other page is still open. After some time that is also will be closed. So this is how we can handle pop-up windows. So what is the difference between handling tabs and pop-ups? Both are considered as a pages. So both we can access using context. So here also we are using context only, right? So here we captured all pages from the using context. Even in the previous example also, I have captured all the pages using even the tabs.ts also I captured all the pages using context. So here you capture everything in the context. So then what is the difference is the event. The event which we have triggered is different. So in case if you are working with the tab, then you have to trigger page event. Okay, so or if you're working with the pop-ups, then you have to trigger pop-up event. So that is the only difference. So here this is a pop-up event. Previously we triggered page event. Okay, so understood everyone. So how we can handle tabs and pop-ups. So now let's see how we can handle authenticated pop-up. So sometimes in your application, as soon as you open the window application, it will open the pop-up. You need to provide some login credentials, then only it will able to log in. So then how we can handle that? Through automation script. So let us open this page. Right. As soon as you open this URL, you can see this. It is opening one pop-up which contains the username and password. So until unless we provide this username and password, it cannot be login. So let's provide something here. Admin. Again, you cannot inspect these elements. Okay. Right. When I say sign in, so then it is successfully signing, and you can see congratulations. You must have the proper credentials. This is the message you got. I got congratulations at least, right? So that means successfully logged in. So now how we can handle these type of pop-ups. So we'll create another test. And because it is a pop-up, right? So because it's an authenticated pop-up, it is not a normal pop-up. If it is a normal pop-up, we can trigger an event and we can capture the pop-up and then we can do further actions. But that is not a normal pop-up. It is an authenticated pop-up. We need to handle in a different way. So authenticated pop-up dot spec dot ts. All right, so authenticated pop-ups. Let us see how we can achieve this. Let me copy this code. Authenticated pop-up. Okay, so I have just removed everything. So I just pass the browser. So I can create a context, I create a page, and then I pass the URL of the application. I'll pass the URL of the application. See, here we are not passing any username and password. We are just launching the URL. Immediately it will pop up. The pop-up will appear. So where we need to pass username and password. So to handle this pop-up, so where we need to pass username and password, because that pop-up is totally different. So when you run this code, you will see the pop-up obviously. Spec authenticated pop-up dot spec dot ts. Just look at this. It opens the page and immediately closed. So this is giving an error. So let me run once again. Waiting for load. Let's run one more time. So basically it is opening the page, but immediately it is asking for the pop-up. So it is getting failed. So navigating to this URL, waiting until load. So basically it is waiting for the page. So that is the reason it is failed. So I can put one wait here because this page is loading slowly. I can add one different wait here. I can say await page dot wait for load state. So this is another method which we have. So this will wait for page loaded completely. Okay, this is another method which you have. So instead of keeping the timeout, you can also put page dot wait for load page. Especially this is for pages. Wait for load state. So basically this is launching the page. We are creating the new contest is okay. Creating the new page is also fine. And when I say page dot go to, this page is launching, but it is having some kind of authentication. So we need to handle that. So one approach is we can directly inject username and password along with this URL. So that is one approach, but that is not recommended. But in Selenium, we don't have any other way. We have to pass username and password along with this URL. But in Playwright, we have a different approach. So let me show you something. In the Playwright, we have something called browser context, right? So we already created a new context. So we can pass username and password along with the context. So we need username and password in the pop-up window so that we can pass along with the new context. So that is the way we will follow in Playwright. So another way, we can directly pass username and password along with this the URL. So let me show you both the ways so that you will be able to clear it. Just a second. Just a moment. So what is our current URL? This is our current URL. So we need to pass or we need to inject username and password along with this URL. So for that, what we need to do is we need to follow syntax. So what is the syntax? So HTTP, this is the domain slash colon colon. So here we need to pass username colon password at the rate and then domain should pass. So whatever domain, so from here, this is all domain. So followed by this one. So this is the actual syntax which we need to follow. So the same URL, but we are trying to inject the username and password. Here we need to put username colon password at the rate. After that, URL will start. So this is one approach. So accordingly, if I pass instead of this, let us say await.page.goto. So I will pass this URL. Okay. So in this username is what admin, password is also admin. So once you provided the username password along with the URL, that pop-up will disappear. Pop-up will be disappeared and then we will also do the validation. So there is a method called congratulations. So that we can validate. So go back to the page once. So if you just provide proper credentials, admin and admin. So once you successfully log in, you can see the congratulations message here. So that you can validate. So how we can validate? You can just inspect this element and you can see this is the element actually. So this is a CSS element. So this is the element, the complete element. Or else you can also write something called text equal to congratulations, something like this, visible or not, you can write. So what I will do is I can write, so text equal to congratulations. So instead of writing the whole text, I'm just writing only congratulations. So one element is matching. So just verify this is visible or not. Go back after successfully done. Okay, so here I will write one assertion, await, expect, page dot locator, and this is the locator, and visible or not. So how we can verify to be visible? This is my assertion. So if the login is successfully done, so then I'm able to see the message congratulations. So this is the first approach. So approach one. So in this approach, we directly pass logins along with URL. So we can directly pass login information along with the URL. So for that, what we need to do, we need to specify username and password along with the URL. Okay, let's close this. See now it is
directly log into the page and we got a congratulations message. So the pop-up will automatically skip. So we no need to see that. So this is the one approach. The second approach is, so for example, let's say I don't want to modify the URL. The URL is again same, but still I want to do login part. So URL is again same URL. I don't want to inject username and password, but rest of the things I should work as usual. So in this particular case, what we need to do is we need to pass the username and password along with the browser context what we created. So if you're using first approach, you don't need browser context. Okay. But if you want to go to the second one, you need a browser context. So can pass the login along with browser context. So browser context we need to configure. So we don't need to change this any code. Original URL as it is we have to pass. Everything is same. But go to the context. When I creating the new context, so in the new context, we need to add credentials using HTTP credentials keyword. So just put one curly brace and we need to pass username and password in the form of key and value pair. So for example, HTTP credentials. This is the key. Actually, we should not change HTTP credentials colon. And here we need to pass user name is admin, comma, password is also admin. This is the procedure. And if you want to keep it in the next line, you can keep it like this. So new context, so this is the first parameter, credentials, username, password, right? This is the way we can pass. So basically we are specifying the login details inside the new context. At the time of creating the context, we just specify them. So obviously it will automatically take care. So now I'm passing the original URL as it is, and then we'll see if working or not. Execute. So you see these type of applications very rarely. So I'm using this. You can see login is successfully done. Okay. So always in Playwright, second approach is preferable. Second approach is always preferable. First approach is not preferable. Okay. Right. This is how we can handle authenticated pop-ups. So browser context is very important. So in the coming sessions, I will show you many things. What else we can do with the browser context. So the whole browser settings, configurations, everything we can control or we can configure using this browser context. There are many use cases are there. In the coming sessions, I will discuss them. Okay. So that's all. So this is all about handling tabs, windows, and pop-ups. So basically all tabs, all windows, pop-ups, everything is a page. So for handling pop-ups, we need to trigger pop-up event. And to handle pages, we need to trigger page event. And these type of pop-ups, we don't trigger anything. We need to just change the context and accordingly, it will able to handle that. Okay. So that's it for today's class. And tomorrow we will continue further.